Hey everybody, it's Tara Bryan, and you are listening to the Course Building Secrets podcast. Whether you're a coach or a CEO, the success of your team and clients is based on your ability to deliver a consistent experience and guide them on the fastest path to results. This podcast will give you practical, real-life tips that you can use today to build your online experiences that get results and create raving fans. Why? So you can monetize your expertise and serve more people without adding more time or team to your business. If you're looking to uncover your $1 million framework, package it and use it to scale, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Okay, in this episode, I want to talk about what you need even before you start packaging your expertise. And this is an interesting topic. I was talking to one of my team members the other day, and we were discussing this. And this was a bit of an aha for me. As we've been helping our customers, one of the biggest challenges that new course creators or people who are new to packaging their expertise and putting it online is this assumption that if you build it, they will come, right? Like if you just build a course, you can put it online and, you just tell some people about it or put some ads on it, and all of a sudden you're going to have $1 million business. And the opportunity is there, right? Like there is no reason why you can't create an online business, an online course business that will actually get to that level and serve your people. But it's not quite that black and white. And so I want to talk about that today in this episode because I think it's sort of a misperception that's out there, is that you can just build something, throw it in a tool like Kajabi or Thinkific or whatever else, and then all of a sudden, it's great. People just come to you and they buy your thing and it's going to be awesome. And if that's you, like that's great. Like here's what I'll say is get started. Right? Get started, get your expertise out of your head, start to figure out what it is that you are an expert at, what you're passionate about, and who you want to help, and what problem you're solving. Because at the end of the day, like in order to create a business, you actually have to solve a problem. It's not really just about packaging your information or your knowledge. And if you want to do that, I would say, become a professor perhaps, right? If knowledge and information is your thing, something where you're teaching in a traditional environment is probably going to serve you because it gives you the ability to be the expert and put together sort of a methodical approach to teaching somebody the information and how to potentially apply that. And I don't say that flippantly. I say that in all reality. It's just a much better model if that is a direction that you are passionate about, and go to more of a traditional path. But if you're serious about starting an online business, an online course or online program business, even an online expertise business, I guess that's maybe more of what I would call it. It doesn't really matter what the method is that you're using to help people, is that it has to be grounded in a core problem that people want to have solved, right? So immediately it goes from you as the expert to you as the sort of problem solver or guide, in which is a common term that we use. And so as you think about that, you need to like find the core problem within your expertise that you can help people solve. And if you do nothing else in this episode, just write that down, because unless you have a core problem that you can help people solve, you're not going to sell your program. That it's just sort of the bottom line, is because you won't be able to talk about it. You won't be able to get people to move, to purchase, and you won't be able to actually get the traction that you want. And so what's that core problem? That's the very first thing I'll say. The other thing is that you have to find people who want to have that problem solved. So before you start selling your thing, so we spend a lot of time, we do VIP sessions, and then we do 90-day implementation sprints where we help people literally get it out of their head, get it packaged, get it sold, and put it into the right platform that helps them, set the foundation so they can, grow and scale what they're doing. And so that's what we do. But the challenge that we've been having, I'll be perfectly honest, is we have some newbies who are coming in who want to create their course. And so when we do a launch, we have very few people who show up for their promotional activities. And so therefore, very few people are purchasing. And so while that in theory is what you would expect to have happen, because of, sort of the false gurus out there, the people who have maybe gotten lucky, I say in air quotes, is that everybody has this perception that they're going to launch and it's going to be $1 million launch, which is not going to happen on your first run out of the gate, right? We specialize in helping people create betas, which just means that you're literally creating the program for real people. You're running them through the program to make sure that you're getting all the questions answered, the content that you're creating is valuable, and it's answering their questions and all the things. And so that is awesome, but when you're doing that, you're probably going to have a small group, unless you spend the time up front building a list of people who want to purchase what you have to offer. And so I would say, and this is the conversation we were having the other day, is like, well, so what number do we want people to have on their email list? Meaning, like, what number of people need to be in their world asking for what they're offering before they put something out for people to buy, right? So what's that magic number, and how do we feel like we can help people in the best way possible? And it's not going from a list of 0, meaning nobody in the world knows about you and knows that you can help solve their problem. And it doesn't have to be, an extensive list of people who know about you and know that you can solve the problem. But there's a sort of a fine line in there in terms of how many people do you need in order to run your beta. I always say that, you can run a beta with 5 really strong people who are going to be active, who you can help, and who you can work with, right? So all you need is 5 people. When you look at that from a statistic standpoint of how many people do you need to have on your list or be in your world in order to get 5 people to purchase, it's about 500 people. So that's about a list of 500 people, meaning people who know, like, and trust you, people who have raised their hand to say, yes, I believe that you are the person who can solve my problem, and I am excited to be in your world. So anytime you opt in for anything from an expert, from somebody else, like, you're basically, that's what you're saying, right? You're saying, oh, what you have to offer is interesting. I would like to trade my email address for it. And so please send me information about how you may help me moving forward, right? So having a list of about 500 people is solid. Having a list of 1,000 people, but 800 of them are not, viable options, that means that, you need to keep doing some work. Having a list of 0 is going to be a really hard place to start from, unless you have, a lot of people who are in your world who want to buy what you have to offer, which most of us do not. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that before you get started building your online program, one of the key things you need to do is to build a list. So then people say, well, great, how do I do that? Well, you need to establish yourself as an authority, and you need to become visible out in the world so people know, like, and trust you and know that you're the person that can help them. So for years, I was doing this when I would go speak at conferences, or I would go to networking events, or I would go to, in-person training sessions or conferences or get-togethers or whatever, right? All in person. And that would be the time where I would meet people and I would say, this is what I do, and here's my business card, and you can, go check out my website, and da 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 da, right? That is a way to get in front of people, to establish yourself as an authority. Then essentially those are the people who are in your world, and so you're trading business cards, which technically means you can put them in to your email automation platform or your CRM, right? Your relationship management system. You can put those names and emails in, and then you can contact them. Well, the other option to that, and for sure when you're first starting out, do that as much as possible. But the other option is, how do you reach people online from your computer, right? How do you reach people from less of a geographical constraint perspective to reaching people out in the world who need your product, right? It used to be that we were really just working locally. Now we can work globally. It's not time efficient or cost efficient to say, well, I want to target people globally and then go to all of those countries and meet people. In some cases, you may still do that, but as a growth strategy, it's not the most efficient way to do it. And so, I mention this because so many of my clients are people who already have businesses, maybe offline businesses, brick and mortar businesses, and this whole online game is new, right? It's a little bit confusing when you think about, like, how do I go about becoming an authority online? And so my point is, it's not any different, right? You need to connect with people, you need to meet people, and you need to trade information. And the way to do that online is through groups. It's through, online experiences. It's through other people's audiences, right? Like, I attend a podcast conference because I'm a podcaster. And so when I attend this online conference, people say, oh, well, who are you? And what do you do? And how can you help me? Right? Same thing as going to, driving to an event and doing that. So get yourself into different events. Connect with people who are, doing complimentary services and offer to get in front of their people. Then, you can build your own group online, or you can visit other groups where your people are hanging out. You can do ads, you can do all of those different things to get your message out there in a different way. But I really want to stress that it's not any different than doing it in person. And so if you are somebody who has done all those things in person, you've done a billboard, you've done, yellow page ads, you've done, just going to events in person, think of it exactly the same way online. You're just doing it in a different modality, right? And so your strategy should be the same. So often I see people say, oh, I put a lead magnet out there, and I'll talk about lead magnet in a minute, but like, I put a lead magnet out there, and I only have like a random opt-in or whatever else, or I did one Facebook Live and nobody watched it, or I did a podcast interview and it was fine, it wasn't really a big deal. To me, that's like you're going to a networking event and you've talked to one person, and then you're like, well, networking doesn't work, right? Like, you got to think about it as a strategy, and you've got to think about, like, what are the seeds that you're planting, and how do you just extend your reach. That should start from day one, where you're starting to find your voice. You're starting to identify, like, okay, here are my people, here's what they need, here are the problems that they have that I'm able to solve. You're going out and you're kind of finding those people. The gift that we have with Facebook or with Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever you are, the gift is it allows you to go out and listen. It allows you to go out, see what your people are doing, see where they're hanging out, see what questions they're asking, where they're going, what they're involved in, what they're interested in. It allows you to do all of that research in such such a great way that we could never do in the past. Use it as a research tool to really dial that in and find out where your people are and what they need and what questions they're asking. And then start answering their questions, right? Become the authority in your space. Until you're the authority, until you start making some noise, people aren't going to know that you have this awesome thing for them. And so use all of the strategies, use as many as you can to get people to come into your world. And so once they're in your world, once you kind of figure out where they are, then the question becomes, how do you get them on your list? And that's when having a freebie for them is helpful. A free gift, a lead magnet like a book, a report, a case study, all those kinds of things, free training, a demo, something that they can, that they can look at to say, oh, I'm curious to know what this is, or, oh, wow, this is really cool that I can jump into this thing that this person has and learn a little bit about them, learn whether or not this is going to solve my problem, and just really kind of get immersed in their environment. And that is the first step, because at that point, then somebody's like, yes, this is amazing. You're helping me and you're providing me with the first step. Now I'm ready for the next step. So what's your program? What do you have for me? And then they're ready to buy. It's much easier than trying to attract people completely cold to your offer, right? Because they don't even know. I mean, they may not even know that they have the problem. They may not even know that there's a step that they need to take in order to get into what you have to offer. They may not even know you're the person that can help them. They may not even know your style or how you show up versus somebody else shows up. They may like that or not like that, right? And so all of that just gives them the research, gives them the information to make a good buying decision, which is what we all really want at the end of the day, is to feel like we've made the right decision. So help them make that decision by providing them with a way to join your list, to say, I'm raising my hand, I'm interested in what you have to say. All of that happens before you have something to offer people. Now, people usually say, whoa, how can I do that? I don't have a business yet, right? Like I have to have a business. I have to be selling a product in order to start going out and doing that. Yes, that may be your approach, and you may need that. But having a framework for your product, knowing, what it is you're creating, how it's going to help people, and sort of a general direction of what's going to happen is the value. Like that's the piece that's going to be helpful for you to have clarity on what it is that you offer and the problem that you're solving, more than the product itself. And so that's really all you need in order to start having those conversations and getting out there. And then in the background, you're becoming visible, and then in the background, you're working on your product, you're working on your program, you're working on your service, whatever it is that you're doing. But there's sort of parallel tracks that are happening. Is one of the biggest challenges that I see people in this space who are trying to get into the game make is they wait until everything is done before they start telling people about it. And what happens is then there's a big gap, because it takes time. All of that takes time. Like you think about going to a networking event, you don't just like meet all these people and then start dating them, right? You don't start like, oh, here, come to my live event, come to this, come to that, come hang out with me, right? Like you don't meet somebody and then just immediately go into a relationship. You meet them, you get to know them a little bit better, and then maybe you start hanging out a little bit more. It's the same concept, right? Like you can't just go out there in the world and be like, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. People don't want that, right? Even if they need your thing, they don't want to buy your thing when you just bang them over the head with it. But so often that's what we do. And, when we're out on social media, as we forget, like there's like a person on the other side of that, right? And think about like your buying behavior. You don't want somebody to just be banging you on the head telling you to buy their thing, right? You want to start building a relationship with someone first. You want to have those little touch points first where you feel like they're speaking to you. There's a reason why they're there, and how they're going to help you, right? Like I'm working with a high level mastermind right now, and I'm actually in their mastermind. And because of what they're teaching, it is literally taking me 2 years to just get to the place where I'm ready to take action on the skill part, because I had such a big transition from a belief standpoint of how I thought things were before, to kind of a whole new opportunity, a whole new way of thinking of it. And it's taken me about 2 years to get to that place of being ready to take action. Does that mean it wasn't successful for me? No, absolutely not. I've gotten my needs met every step along the way. But if you were to look at their program, they would say, well, why is it taking you so long? Why have you not taken action? And I'm like, I've been taking action every day that's been valuable for me and my experience. But that nurturing happened way before I decided to become part of that group. And I wouldn't have been part of that group if the trust level wasn't there. And the trust level came because of the relationship that was developed before I went into the program. And so don't discount that, and don't shortcut that process, because it's not about you getting on Facebook and, being a dancing monkey. That's not what it's about. It's about building a relationship, getting people to know you and like you and trust you, or say, no, thank you, you're not for me, right? There's just as many people online who I like to follow as people that I'm like, no, thank you. I have no interest in following this person, right? That's good. You want to have some people like you and some people not like you. If you're too vanilla, then people won't move, right? Like they won't build a relationship with you. And so really think about that as you're going. But I did want to put this out there because I do think it's an important piece. We also help people figure out what that front end looks like, right? How do you publish? How do you start becoming visible? And what does that look like? And the learning for us in this process has really been about how much emphasis needs to happen on that before they even get in the game, and helping people really see that and learn kind of how that process will serve them when they do get into a course launch, and making sure that the timing is correct. Because at the end of the day, we are all about helping people succeed and get the results that they're looking for. And it would be a disservice for us to go through the motions and do an implementation before somebody actually could be successful. So there you go. That is my course building tip for today.
Hey everybody, are you a business owner ready to streamline and scale your business? Imagine solving the biggest business challenges with clarity, a strategy, and a clear plan. Hey, I'm Bryan, and I want to invite you to take the first step towards transforming your business with a free 30-minute discovery call. This call is an opportunity to discuss your goals, identify key challenges, and learn how my mentorship program can help you achieve the success you're aiming for. In just a half hour, we'll explore how you can scale your business by enhancing your authority strategy, engagement strategy, and retention strategy. You'll get personalized advice and a clear path forward. Ready to take the first step? Click on the link below that's in the show notes to book your free discovery call now. I hope to talk to you soon.